Welcome to TriTech University. My name is Bill Steppen, and today we are going to continue on our trip down the mobile application, as it were, with exploring AIM Mobile's functionality regarding mobile contracts and how you kind of specifically as a music store, but I suppose this could be used in other aspects as well, since technically the sky is the limit when it comes to creativity is concerned. Could be used for employing the app when it comes to school demo nights, for when you go out to make your case for having parents rent instruments for their children at the various school nights that you all like to attend for the purposes of growing your business and, of course, growing that art that is school band nights. So we're going to explore that in just a minute, but as always, a few housekeeping rules. So over to the right is the chat tab. You can click on that to switch over to the chat functionality away from the playlist of the upcoming live stream schedule. And at the bottom of that chat tab is a nickname button. You can click on that to then key in your name, and that will then give you the ability to talk to me and converse amongst yourselves and share tips and advice with anyone else who might be attending today's actual live stream broadcast. So definitely take advantage of that if you are here attending today. I see a fair number of folks seemingly logged in to check out today, more than usual, which is awesome to see. So yeah, if there's any questions, definitely let me know. We're going to be exploring, as I mentioned, the mobile contract functionality, which is going to borrow heavily on the knowledge that we gleaned with setting up online contracts themselves. So if you are not privy to that functionality, I'm afraid we're not going to get too much into that because there's just too much of that to cover in the limited time window that we typically do these broadcasts. But there are a whole series of pre-recorded broadcasts available in either the recent live streams tab or the active tabs back on the video portion of this website of the TriTech University video portal. So definitely check those out. Either if you're watching this recorded afterwards and you have not yet checked those out, definitely go back and check those out before continuing with this. If you are here as of right now in the present moment and checking this out and you don't know that information, I'm afraid there's not much I can do. I will do my best to try and answer questions, but you'll just have to probably follow along for now. So with that being said, let me go ahead and switch over to my demonstration screen. I'm going to kind of mix things up this time. So normally I'd have my face cam down here, but I want to try and do simultaneously going through the app as well as going through the functionality within the AIM application itself. So instead of doing a split screen like this, for example, where I would have the over here to the right, have it like this be the main blowout and then just kind of switch back and forth. I'm just going to roll with what we have here right now. So that way you can kind of see what I'm doing as I tap on the screen. That'll be exploded over to the right, so you'll hopefully be able to follow along nice and easy. Now, that being said, what I am going to do is I'm going to, in the ActiveE portion of the maintenance area, I'm going to bring up the contract setup launcher. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I just wanted to demonstrate that if we go into the application itself and then go into the contract section and then specifically this rent instrument section, I'll try and put my mouse right next to it as I'm pointing to it here. What we're seeing here is going to be reflective of the setup that you already are taking advantage of for your ActiveE contract website. So for example, you'll notice If I look here in the select a district option, it's coming up as Dubuque Community. So you'll notice if I bring this over here so that it's not on the other monitor, we can see that Dubuque Community is the only option. And if I make that selection and go to select a school, you'll see that it's coming up as Irving Elementary, and that is the only school that I have set up in here as well. So basically I'm just pointing out that it will already take advantage of the functions that you already have set up for your online contracts on the website and extend that to the application itself. So this is right now on an iPhone, but if you have tablets like iPads or Android tablets or anything like that, a strategy that I know some of our customers have already employed is loading up the app on a tablet and then bringing a bunch of those, maybe however many you might have, and bringing those to the band rental night at the school system, and even preloading, essentially preloading this with the specific schools and whatnot that you're already attending, so that basically when the customer comes up to the table, you can hand them the tablet or the phone or whatever it might be, and all they have to do is, if I go ahead and select the school here and select the teacher, basically they would just be left with selecting the instrument that they are looking to rent. Let's go ahead and say that I'm going to do this YSL 200 AD trombone, and then the grade. So I'm going to choose the $20 student option. And I'm going to take advantage of the free school delivery because that's the only one I've got set up here. So then when we go to this tab and kind of finalize the rental, essentially this is taking the functions of the website and consolidating it to a mobile application format. We're going to see that it's going to display on the app everything that the customer could potentially need to know. Yes, they are in fact in this particular district and school, teacher, grade, instrument, etc., etc. It's going to display, in this case, the maintenance down payment, the normal down payment, the ongoing monthly payments, and so on and so forth. And then down below that, if you have any accessories or optional things that the customer can potentially take advantage of, such as method books, music stands, cleaning kits, etc., etc. They can be turned on and off with the click of a tab and so forth. And then down below that, it will ask them to fill in their information, and potentially they could also scan their ID. Tapping the Scan ID button would essentially enable the camera for the purposes of scanning a driver's license, just like we've talked about, I believe, in other sessions. It can use the camera essentially as a barcode scanner, and it can scan the 2D barcodes on the back of most state driver's licenses. I believe it is set up now for all 50 states, so there should be no qualms with that. I'm not sure about our Canadian customers up there in the provinces, but I know definitely it's been set up for most of, if not all, 50 states here in the United States. So basically I'm mentioning all of that because this can be more straightforward than the customer bringing up the website on their phone. We certainly have options for that, but this is also certainly kind of assuming that the customers themselves have a smartphone with them, because you could definitely print out QR codes that link right to your website. That is actually a function that we have right here in the Contract Setup Launcher. You can set up a QR code and print this out, where it will default a specific district and school and teacher and generate that so that you can print these out and bring them with you to the demo night for the customers to scan with their smartphones. So that can be used actually as a supplement to the application itself. The application on your available tablets and phones and whatnot could be used as an alternative to the customers that you are targeting not having their own personal smartphone to use for the purposes of the QR code scanning. So basically, like I said, I'm probably repeating myself, but the application is basically everything that you can do on the website and more. Now, what I wanted to spend most of my time talking about is how to customize and make this part of the application your own. So for one example, if we, actually I'm going to leave this up on the rent screen here. I'm going to use a part of the desktop application here called the Mobile Setup Launcher. Now in this Mobile Setup Launcher, before you can take advantage of the application, you are going to need to create what is known as a layout. So if we come in here into layouts, typically when you first come in here, there's not going to be anything here. So what I would recommend doing is clicking this Add Default button, and this will then give you the opportunity to select one of the preloaded, if you will, mobile layout templates, and I'm going to recommend choosing either the Contract Finalize or the Contract Finalize Employee option. I already have the employee one set up here. Mainly the difference is just the employee is an employee-facing one, but right now all we have is an employee-facing app, so that would be what I would recommend doing. Now with this loaded, this will by default have a bunch of sections and elements that also come loaded with it. And I want to talk about what these mean. So if we take a look at the Sections tab here, we'll see there are 4 sections that get loaded with the template: an Info tab, an Accessories tab, a Customer Info, and a Terms and Conditions. Now, essentially what this is, if we look at the screen here, this is the information that is displaying on the finalized page, if you will. So, for example, we see Info, and then Accessories, and then Customer Information, and then wrapping it up down here at the bottom with the Terms and Conditions agreement form, if you will. So let's say, for example, I want to have the accessories ahead of the information. What I can do is I can click this Sort Order button, and I can drag accessories above information and accept that. And now watch what happens to the application if I just tap back and reload this. So you'll notice that now the accessories information is above the rest of the information. So basically this gives you the ability to go around and essentially organize the information in the order that you would like to have it. If you would prefer that the customer information be even above all of that, we'll just drag that to the top, and you'll notice now if I go back and reload that, the customer information is now above the accessories and above the contract information. But what if we want to go even further? What if we want to customize the information within these sections? Well, if we tap on information here, for example, and then go to the Element tab, this is probably a bunch of gobbledygook for right now, but if we kind of look at this from I guess you could say a programmer's perspective, not that I expect anyone to be able to read programmer, but we can kind of see that this implies or mentions district and school and teacher and instrument. And if we just take a look here, we can see that if we look at the information section here, it's kind of starting off with district and school and teacher and instrument and grade and so on and so forth. So when you load the template, all of these default elements will load in addition to the default sections. And let's say, for example, maybe the internal grade number of the instruments that you have available for rent isn't really pertinent or necessary for the customers to see when they're looking at this screen. We can simply delete that. So I'm going to hit yes on this and watch on, I know you can't really see too well where I'm pointing, but specifically this grade section here where it says grade student, if I go ahead and delete that, and then I'm just going to back and reload that, we'll notice that the well, the grade is still there. So I haven't had a chance. Actually, that's what I remember. I need to save. We'll hit save on that. And now if I go back and go into that section and let's just reload this again. So now we will see that the grade, the student grade, is no longer on this screen. If the grade level, then the number with which you are kind of organizing the how these things are paid is again irrelevant to the customers seeing this information, you can do the same thing. We can delete that out, and then we'll just update that by hitting save. And if we refresh the page, we'll see that the grade level, which used to say 3, is no longer here on the display. So that basically gives you a lot of functionality. You can organize the available elements as you see fit. I will point out that over here on the bottom half of this right-hand section, you can kind of see there's some additional things like style overrides, and you can rename things as you see fit. So for example, maybe for down payment, if I click on this, I don't know if you can kind of see over there, but it's all one word. Maybe I want that to be 2 words, so I can just adjust the label itself. I'm going to go ahead and make that be 2 words. I'm even going to capitalize payment. You can kind of see here it's got a token in there to pull in the down pay amount. So I'm just going to rename that label and then hit save and overall refresh this. So again, pay attention to, if you kind of see my mouse on screen here, right here where it currently says down payment and it's all one word. If I refresh that and go back to it, you'll see it's now 2 words, down payment, and the payment word is capitalized. So basically what I'm saying is this gives you all kinds of functions for organizing the details. We can do the same thing in the customer info section. If we take a look at the elements here, these are all the details of the customer information you are requesting. So for example, it's by default asks for the full name. Technically, if you wanted to, if we look at the type options here, or excuse me, the license mapping. The license mapping is basically where this information will be saved to in AIM once the customer fills this out. By default, it asks for a full name in all one field, but if you would rather that they be 2 separate fields, one for first name and one for last name, we could delete out the full name element, and we could add in, if we call this, let's call this for the ID, let's just call it first underscore name. We'll just do it all one word, name, and then for the type, that's going to be a text input field. So basically just asking for the customer to fill that in, and then we'll select the first name, and then here in the label we will call it first name, and we'll just kind of set it up that way, and then we'll save that. So if we now kind of then add a second one, and this will be last name, and then type will be text input field, and then license mapping is going to be last name, and then in the label it'll be last name. And now that I'm thinking about it, those probably need to go into the value fields. Oh, I think we should be good. So so all these other fields here kind of are what they are. So then let's go ahead and organize these. Let's change the sort order so that these are below the scan ID. And then we will just accept that and save. So now if we come back into the app and refresh it one more time, we can see now up here at the top it is asking for first name and last name individually, and because those are now mapped respectively to their appropriate areas in the system, they will be pointing to the appropriate area when the customer fills those in for the purposes of creating the customer's account back in AIM. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Now, another function I'm going to talk about here is, and I don't know if I can get through all the way to the end here, but the concept of contract fulfillment. So back over here, the contract fulfillment function is basically what you can do after the customer has filled everything in, and now you want to actually disperse an instrument to the customer after they have gone through, and you want to give them in their instrument essentially before they leave the night. I'm just going to bring this up because this has some original contracts that were from some previous testing. So basically we can kind of see it's showing some information here of what customers have previously filled in. So let's go ahead, for example, and select this YSL 280 trombone here from back in June, unfortunately at this point, but we can select that, and then basically what we can do is it will ask us to enter in the serial number or even scan it in. So basically what this allows you to do is take the instrument that you have on hand at the school night and assign it to the customer. And then you can even see it's going to pop up and confirm what the customer has all signed up for and so forth, so that when you submit that back in the contract finalize area of AIM itself, it's kind of hidden behind my display here. But if we were to go into the post online contracts area, so this would be after you return to the store and you are now going through and finalizing the contracts. Any contracts that have had a serial number assigned to them will be displayed right here, so that when you go to create the contract, it will already have the serial number essentially pre-designated. Like for example, you can see this one here that says me and you. This one does not have a serial number. This one does. Of course, I think this one might have already had all the contracts created because these are all in bold over here. But that's basically the idea, is that way when you get back to the store the next day and you're going through and essentially processing all of the contracts from the previous night, it already has the serial number, and you would just go ahead and do everything else. Link the customer, create the contract, create the invoice, and it'll already pull in the serial number that you assigned the previous night. Rich is asking, are we able to add fields to the customer input like Social Security or driver's license number? That is an excellent question, Rich. Let's actually go back and take a look here in the mobile setup launcher for the layouts, and we can go to the contract finalize and the section and customer information. Anything that you can request of the customer would be in this license mapping option here. So if we take a look, we have the options of full name, first name and last name, address, city, state, and zip code. So it looks like as of right now, if we want that information to go directly into where it should be going in AIM, it does not appear that we have the opportunity to capture that just at this point. Based on what I'm seeing here in the license mapping, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay that way. I'm certain that if you requested that, we could certainly have that available for the purposes of capturing. For what it's worth, if we take a look at the info section here, and likewise look at the well, not the license mapping, but the type options. If there's anything that you want to request of the customer, you're not necessarily limited to the license mapping here when it comes to requesting this information. If you wanted to have a field for, let's say, for example, mother's maiden name or something like that, you could certainly request that information and have that available as any one of these options for the customer to fill in. And in most cases, you'll probably just be asking them to input a text field, or maybe in some cases, I think there's a date field option if you're going to ask for like a date to be filled in. But it's just a matter that we don't have that ability to link it right to a specific field back in the customer information. So that would be saved essentially as a note line item on probably the rental contract itself, if not the customer information. But yeah, like I said, if you need that information to be captured, by all means, I'm sure that it's just a matter of requesting that through our support department, asking that to be added as an option for the license mapping, and we can make that happen, I would wager. Especially since we have the function of the scanning of the ID, so we can see that that is its own type, is the scanning of an ID, so that way on the app itself, if we go back here to the rent instrument and go through this once more and fill in all these details. And last but not least, get to here. The very first thing I have here is the scan ID. You might notice that it's actually further down here on the list, but the sort order itself I have right at the very first value. So if we look at the sort order, it's right there at the top. If I wanted that for whatever reason below first and last name, I certainly could do that. So now it's below first and last name, wherever you want the option to scan it. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Rich. Not to get all circular there. So yeah, basically what I would recommend doing is ahead of going to a mobile or a school band night or anything like that, bring this up and do like what I'm doing here. Have the app in front of you that's already been linked to your database, and spend some time playing around with the layout. See if you can, come up with anything else that you have questions on, and definitely let us know. Otherwise, for right now, it's a fully functioning element that you can take advantage of right at this time. So if there's anything more that you see that could be useful for you, it's very likely that it could be useful for others as well. So definitely reach out to our support team and let us know what we can do to improve, because as you probably already know, we're always in the process of improving our solutions for you. That's why we're on version 12, and we will be continuing to update our software and all of our solutions based on the needs that will benefit you the most and provide you the options for continued growth. So hopefully this has been helpful. I think the next one is going to be Tuesday, February 14th, and I think I'm going to continue with the mobile application exploration. So if there's anything specific that you would like to see, definitely let me know by using the poll option up at the top here of the live stream page, the video portal. You can use that to make suggestions of things that you would like to see covered in future live stream topics. And I always keep that. I no longer clear that out, so you can always see what's been requested in the past, so that you can know whether or not it's been either previously requested and potentially even covered. I will comment on them if something of that caliber has already been covered, and where that's available to check out if it has been. If it hasn't been, then I will more than likely make a live stream out of it, because these live streams are here to serve you, not to let me hear myself talk for half an hour. So yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. If I don't hear from you, I hope you have a great rest of your January, and we will see you come February. I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Take care.